Greetings. Welcome to Friday night. I appreciate you stopping by. This is my Friday night live draw. My name is Phil. I do this pretty much every Friday, and it is live. So if you are inclined to chat with me, you are free to do so. I've got a wave from Carrie over on YouTube. And YouTube is really where you should be hanging out. If you're watching this on Facebook, I mean, that's cool too, but really you should be over on YouTube. That's the place to be. Anyway, hello there. My name is Phil, and I'm glad you are you, and that you are here with me, and that it is another Friday. We are mid-July, straight up mid-July. It's the nice and hot time of the year. And I say nice, and I mean super uncomfortable, but it's okay. You know, if you have AC, you're good. Well, I have a lot to catch up with you guys on. In the past week, there's been some interesting developments, and if you're watching me on like full landscape mode, you can see some paper behind me there with some drawings on it. I'm going to get to those in just a second. But in the meantime, I think last week I did a sort of like Ask Me Anything hangout session. I didn't officially call it an Ask Me Anything, but I basically just kind of hung out with you guys. I believe it's what I remember. I was looking back over the videos. I was like, yeah, I think that's what I did. But ever since last Friday, I've been a busy little bee. So I made these. Whoa. Okay, so here's let me back up. I'm sorry. This is what happens when I do something live. Okay, this is what happens. I get kind of unscripted and underprepared, and it happens. It's okay. You're here for it. You're here. It means you're going to see some very unpolished versions of me talking to you. Only one version, I guess. So if you're just now tuning in, I've been animating a cartoon since May of 2023. And by animating, I mean on paper and then scanning those drawings in with my scanner, which you see behind me, and then compositing them and putting together a roughly 7-minute cartoon. Hello to, is it Anu John G? Hello. And the number of storyboard pages that made up the cartoon was 24 pages, and the number of scenes that was 64 scenes. Hello to Cecilia Carrick. Hello. Hi DJ. Oh, okay. Your friend is like me. I don't know what that means, but your friend sounds like a wonderful person. Okay, so since May of 23, I've gotten through 24 pages of storyboard. I've animated 64 scenes. And when I was working on all of that, I came up with something extra that wasn't in the original storyboards. It wasn't in the original script. And I've been calling it the montage because that's what it is. It's a montage. And I didn't really know how long the montage was going to be, but I've been telling everybody it's going to be like 15 seconds. I no longer believe that to be the case. And I'm going to tell you why. Oh, you've got a friend who animates. Oh, that's great. That's great, DJ. Awesome. I like your friend already. So over the weekend, I ran out of storyboard paper. I forgot that I didn't have any extra storyboard paper. So, and I didn't really want to go driving somewhere to like get some printed up. I was like, I'll just wait till Monday when I can go to. I have access to a photocopier that doesn't cost me anything. So I was like, I'm not really in a rush. I'll just wait till Monday when I can get access to the photocopier. But I didn't want to wait. I had ideas and I wanted to work them out. And I'm actually really glad I did this because I'm finding that, you know, the animation process is a lot of repetition. It's a lot of going over the same moments over and over again, trying to, find the best, like distill everything down to the best parts. And so I made these thumbnail sketches, and 2 pages worth. And so the idea with these thumbnail pages was to give me something to sort of work on and like work things out and make sure I could, get to a place where I felt like, yeah, this is going to work. And so I did that over the weekend. And then on Monday, I went ahead and made my photocopies of the storyboard paper. And then I took all of these thumbnails and I looked at them and I drew them again, but larger, so they could be on my wall, because I keep my storyboards on my wall. That way, whenever I'm here drawing, I can kind of turn to the right and look and see at the section that I'm currently working on. And then if I want to keep looking further and further to the right, it gives me an idea of where the story is going. I've been doing that since the beginning of this project. I've had storyboards on my wall since May of 2023. For a brief period of time last week, I had nothing on my wall. That was super weird. So now I've got 4 pages of storyboards back up on my wall. These are the final 4 pages of storyboards for my cartoon. And so I really do feel like now I'm in the home stretch, because this is it. I don't have any other plans to add anything else. I mean, there were some ideas I was toying with, but I don't know that I'm going to do those ideas. So I'm pretty sure, let's just say I'm pretty sure I'm not adding anything else that wasn't already in the script or the storyboards beyond the montage. So today I was looking at everything and I was counting all the different scenes just so I could get my head wrapped around it, partially for my own sake, but also partially because I wanted to be able to talk about it tonight. And I sat here and I counted everything and I went, okay, there's 15 scenes. Now, I've been telling people that this montage will be 15 seconds. There's no way that's going to be 15 seconds unless every scene was 1 second. It's just not going to happen. And I know that not every scene is going to be 1 second. Hello to another individual named Job. I'm going to call you Job Bro, is what I'm going to call you. Job Bro on YouTube. Because I don't necessarily think I want to repeat your name out loud. Anyway, you're welcome. So earlier today, I was working on the montage. I finally started working on it, and I finished the first scene out of the 15 scenes. So I'm 1 down, 14 to go. But this is the last 14 before I am done with rough animation. But I'm telling you, I don't think it's going to be 15 seconds. And when I was doing the math, right now, the whole cartoon, if you add in the opening credits and the ending credits, or the titles, however you want to call it, there's about 22 seconds of space before I hit the 7-minute mark. So I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? There's a very good chance this montage is going to hit 22 seconds. It might even hit more than 22 seconds. I don't know. But I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking there's a really good chance that's going to happen. And that's not a bad thing. I just sort of... it really isn't a bad thing. The reason I keep bringing up 7 minutes is because a lot of the traditional Looney Tunes cartoons, and I'm going to lower that a little bit, a lot of the traditional Looney Tunes cartoons and the classic Disney shorts, a lot of them tend to be around 7 minutes. And so I, as a sort of, I don't know, homage, or I kind of wanted to be in that club, I have it in my head that like something around 7 minutes is nice. It's a good number of minutes for a short cartoon. Sometimes they go less than 7. Sometimes they go more than 7. There's a handful of Looney Tunes that are around like 8 or 9 minutes. So it's not like it has to be a certain amount, but it'd be kind of cool if I could get it as close to the 7-minute mark as possible. If it goes over, it goes over. Now, part of the reason I'm talking about this is because I'm I get a lot of questions from you guys asking me, well, what are you going to do with this thing when it's done? Are we going to be able to watch it on YouTube? What's the plan? The plan, I've got a number of plans. One of the plans is to submit to film festivals, assuming that I feel good enough about it to put it into film festivals. I think I will, but I always say assuming because it's not finished yet. So when it's in film festivals, it can't be on YouTube. It can't be available to the public. That's just like a rule that they have. But I will tell you that some film festivals have categories of films, of film lengths. And so, like, in other words, if you have a short film and your short film is 5 minutes and another person has a short film and that short film is like 30 minutes, those are both considered to be shorts. But it's not really fair, I don't think, to put a 5-minute short against a 30-minute short. It makes things more complicated for the people who are judging. So they tend to break up festivals into like windows of time. And one of the windows I've seen is 7 minutes or below. And then if you go above 7, now you're in another bracket. That's why I'm talking about this. It doesn't really matter. However long the cartoon is however long the cartoon is. But it is something that I'm thinking about because I'm long-term planning for film festivals. So I'm just like, okay, I wonder which category I'm going to fall in. That'll be interesting. When did I start my channel? Asks Job Bro. I started my channel back in 2013, I think. Like early 2013. I didn't do very much with it back then. I just had the channel and I used it to make like a couple of videos, and then I really didn't do anything with it for a while. And then I kind of kicked it back up again, I think like around 2018, maybe before that. But I've had this channel a long time, and it's been growing over the past few years, but really, really slowly. But that's okay. I appreciate everybody that joins me here. Those of you who have taken it upon yourself to subscribe, I do appreciate that. And for giving me a thumbs up, like the thumbs up I just got from Phil Cummings over on YouTube. I'm sorry, on Facebook. Hi, Phil. Phil Cummings is an awesome animation industry veteran, and I actually interviewed him for my podcast. If you haven't heard it, it's on this channel. It's called Stay Tuned, and you can look up Phil Cummings, and you'll hear my interview with him. I love when people who I've interviewed show up like that. That's great. It's such an unexpected delight, and it makes me feel very special. So thank you for that, Phil. So where does that lead me tonight? Well, so the first scene is done. I just started barely earlier today. I just started the next one. And a lot of these scenes in the montage are going to be pretty short. I don't know if they're going to be 1 second short. Some of them might be. That's why I said I don't really know how long this sequence is going to be. It's going to be interesting. But I'm just going to take it one scene at a time, one drawing at a time, one storyboard page at a time. Again, there's only 4 pages left on my wall now. So as I complete them and pull them down off the wall, it's like a final countdown, a final 4 countdown. Yeah. When did I start the stream? Like 13 minutes ago. If you mean when did I start tonight's stream? Like 13 minutes ago. Yeah. You're not late. You're just in time. I'm going to show you guys a drawing from the scene I'm going to be working on tonight. This is not the beginning of the scene. It's just the drawing I had in my head, and I really wanted to get it on paper. And this is my main character, New Guy, and he's about to do like a little salute thing. I was originally going to have him do a like kind of a nervous wave, like a ha ha ha, like that. But then and that's what my storyboards show. They show him going like haha. Actually, you can see it in my thumbnail sketches right there, right? He's like right there doing the little haha. Well, the reason why I'm not keeping it like that, as I went back and looked at everything today, is like right before this scene, I have him doing the same kind of haha to another character, and there's nothing inherently wrong with having a character repeat their behaviors. You could make the argument it's like a character trait, like a tick, like a nervous tick, or just something that they tend to do. I don't have any problem with that, but with it being so close to the previous time that I have him wave like that, I would like to mix it up and have the same emotions come through, but a different physical action. And again, that's for me. That's like, I like to try to come up with different ways to express maybe similar emotions, but maybe fun and different ways we didn't see before to kind of keep things fresh. So that's something I'm always working on, trying to do that. Anyway, but earlier today I finished the first scene. It was only 17 drawings. I was kind of surprised it was so short, and it's a little over 3 seconds. So it's a little over 3 seconds, which means, of course, this is going to be longer than 15. Of course, the montage is going to be longer than that. So now the question is it going to be more than 22 seconds and push me over 7 minutes? It might. It very well could. There's nothing wrong with it, but I'll let you guys know as the weeks come and go here. I'm thinking maybe I can. I've been saying 2 months to get this 4 storyboard section done, the montage. I don't know if I can do it in 2 months. I'm gonna try. Anybody that I talk to is like, "You got this. You can do it in 2 months." But I'm not 100% convinced. But we'll see. We'll see. Thank you, Carrie. Carrie says that makes sense. Job Bro says, I think so. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera around, and I think I'm going to do what I'm going to work on tonight. I'm not doing any in-betweens because I just started a brand new scene. My plan tonight is to do maybe some keyframes. And if you're new to animation, keyframes are sort of like bookends. It's basically where a scene, and when I say scene, think of scene like in the film world, think of it like a shot list. So if the camera changes, now you're on a different scene, okay? There's no camera, really. It's just drawings, but I treat it like it's a camera. Thanks for the thumbs up on Facebook from Jackie DeCane. I appreciate that. And if you're giving me a thumbs up on YouTube, I appreciate you too. I just can't see it. The program I'm using doesn't notify me. And actually, I want to point out that people have been giving me like YouTube gifts in the last few months, and I never know about it until someone tells me afterwards, or until I go and look at my channel afterwards. So if you're somebody that's doing those kinds of things with stickers and stuff, I really appreciate it. I'm not trying to ignore you. I just don't know about it until after the fact. So you're in no way obligated to do those things, but if you do, I want you to know that I appreciate it. So thank you for that. All right. I have yammered long enough. I also ordered more paper recently, and so I ordered 2 reams of paper, and each ream is 500 sheets of paper. I do not think I will go through all of that. I just didn't want to run out again. And the place that I order the paper from, the cost of shipping makes it so that it doesn't make a lot of sense to order 1 ream. I could have ordered 1 because I don't think I'm going to get through another 500 pages, but I don't know, right? I don't know, and I don't want to be left with like very little to no paper, and then I'll have to order like 1 more, and ordering them 1 at a time like that. I don't want to do that. I usually order 2 at a time. I will tell you that at this point in, like, as of July 17th, today, I believe I'm over. Let me just check. I don't want to say I believe. I like to give you guys actual, more accurate numbers than that. I am at this point about 3,450 frames of animation. So it doesn't necessarily mean 3,450 drawings. It might actually be more than that, because some frames are made up of multiple layers of drawings. So I could draw 5 different things and then flatten those together to make 1 frame. So I don't know how many pages I've gone through, but I can tell you how many flattened images, and that is right around 3,450, which is pretty cool. I had a feeling I was going to get to 3,500 pretty soon. we'll see if I get to 4,000. I don't know that I will, and it doesn't really matter one way or the other, but it is kind of a cool thing. I've been keeping track of all these milestones, and like, I think the more information, the better. So when I'm done with this cartoon and I have all the stats, like this is how long the cartoon was, this is how many years it took me to make it, this is how many pieces of paper it took me to make it. Once I write all that stuff down, it kind of gives me a framework so that when I want to do another one, I can go, okay, I can kind of expect I'll probably need this many, reams of paper. I can order them all up front, or I'll probably need, whatever I'll need up front. It'll give me a chance to sort of prepare for it, or if I want to get like a special separate hard drive to store everything on, I'll know roughly how many, terabytes or gigabytes I'll need that drive to be, in order to accommodate whatever project I do next. So that's the plan. That's the plan, is to just sort of learn as much as I can from this. And that's what it's been. It's been a major, major learning lesson. I've been fondly calling it the most educational animation class I've ever taken. It's not an animation class because I'm doing it myself. It's not for school or anything like that. But I will say I have learned more doing this project than I have maybe doing anything, honestly. Very, very likely. I've learned more doing this project than maybe any other project I've ever made. Why am I messing with my camera right now? Well, that's because I'm about to start working on some drawings, and I'm going to rotate. And yes, I know it would be a lot smarter if I had a setup that was already aligned and I didn't have to do it this way, but well, folks, I don't know what to tell you. This is how we're doing it. This is it. All right, now if you're watching me on, I've got like multiple streams going. If you're watching me on landscape mode, you can already see me and the drawing. But if you're watching me on a vertical live stream, which is how most of you watch me, I'm going to try to get the drawing in frame. And I won't be in frame so much because that doesn't really matter. You can still hear me, so you don't have to see me as much. All right, so you can see this is my current drawing. Now, this is not the beginning of the scene. Actually, to be fair, it's more like partway through the scene, but it's the drawing I had in my head, and I really wanted to get this on paper and then like build out backwards and forwards from this drawing, because I really wanted to land this image, and that's just something that I do sometimes. I don't always start in the middle of a scene, but sometimes if I'm stuck on a picture in my head, I'll just work on that picture in my head. Anyway, I'm gonna turn the music up a little bit. Okay. Now, I took reference photos for this image that you guys are looking at right here. And I often do reference, let me, one moment here. I'm going to pull up the photograph that I took earlier today. All right, so this is the reference photo. You can see it's like I'm doing like a salute. Sorry, it's a little blinding. There we go. You can see I'm like doing the salute thing, and I'll take reference photos like that so I can, like, if it's an angle I'm not familiar with usually. So the other image I took is the other side of the salute, like the hand going the other way, and so I took a photo of that as well. I really can't see if there you go. So I took that photo too, and so I'm gonna put that photo off camera, but I can see it. It's like facing me, and I'm gonna see if I can make a drawing that kind of embodies the spirit of that photo. I'm not trying to copy it exactly. I'm just trying to use it as a place to start. I highly recommend drawing from reference. It does make things a lot easier. I think last week I was talking, or maybe 2 weeks ago, I was talking about the two frame animation, which is basically just like flipping two drawings to make sure you've got like some actual decent movement. And so that is what I'll be focusing on tonight. I'm not trying to get like my usual 3 drawings done during this live stream. I just kind of want to flesh this drawing out tonight. I don't really have any other mission other than that. So I just want to make sure I'm landing these poses, because these poses for the keyframes are really, really important, because then everything else you do is based around that. At least for me, that's how I do it. I can't speak for everybody, but so basically it's like the foundation for a house, and so it's really important to get these drawings solid, because then when I go to do other drawings, it's based off of how these drawings look. So they have to work. They have to be something that I can count on. You guys can't see that if you're watching the vertical. So let's see if there's a way I can like pull this forward more. I can't really pull it forward any more than that. That's about all I can do. All right. And again, I'm sort of loosely basing this on a photograph I took of myself, a couple of photographs I took of myself for reference. Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate that. this process is always, for me, is always kind of slow. And I mean, what surprise is that, right? Animation is slow, obviously. But this process, I always try to like not rush it too much, because like I said, everything else I do in the scene is going to be based off of what I'm doing right now. So I can move faster later when I'm doing in betweens and breakdown shots. But for me, I take my time during the keyframe process. I'll also tell you guys, I'm not ashamed of like telling you guys where I don't feel the most confident. And drawing fast has never come easy to me. In fact, growing up, I never felt like drawing came all that easily to me. I mean, I guess it depends on who you're talking to, right? Some people, they never really try to do the drawing thing, and so I'm sure to them, um, I must look like I'm like a wizard. But I assure you, I'm not a wizard, and I grew up um, with friends who could draw circles around me. I hate to use the expression, but I always felt very self conscious about how long it took me to make drawings, how many, excuse me, how many times I had to erase things. Um, so it's honestly, it's always been kind of a self conscious thing. It's something I've been working to get better about, and I believe I've become a better artist on the other side of this project. Like, obviously, I'm not done yet with it, but I'm a lot closer to being done now than I was 3 years ago. So I do feel a lot more confident now, but I would be lying if I said like, oh yeah, now I'm like a drawing master. I don't necessarily claim anything like that. But I do feel like I've gotten to know my characters and their world a lot better, which is great. That's what I really wanted. I wanted to I wanted to better define the world of Retail Sunshine. And you can go and read my books. That's fine. I feel like I've defined the world maybe more in this cartoon than like any of the books in some ways. In some ways, I won't say like completely, but um, I would say it's not a crazy idea to say that like uh, this is like the most defined that the world has ever been in all the different forms it's taken now. Comics, uh, rhyming, poetry, story, like those different forms, and now animation. Um, I think it's more defined now than it's ever been. All right, so if you notice, if I'm flipping my drawings like this, it's only two drawings, but you can kind of like see him doing the salute. Obviously, there will be drawings in between those, but I have to make sure that these bookends, these keyframe drawings, I have to make sure these are solid first before I can even think about keyframes. Something else I learned is when I fill the page like this, and the character takes up a lot of room like this, well, it takes longer to make the drawing because you're covering more surface area. So a scene like this will, probably take me a few days because of how large the drawings are. Um, I mean, we'll see. I don't know for sure how long it's going to take. I'm just sort of telling you based off of my other scenes that I've done. Hey Frank, over on Facebook, how you doing? Like that. Okay, so if I flip this, yeah, there you go. So now he's doing his little salute. Hey, thank you. Thanks, job, bro. Appreciate that. Like I said, I have to make sure I'm going at a pace that makes sense for me, so I know I'm not going like super fast. But like I said, I have to make sure these drawings work, or the rest of them won't work. So I always got to be a little bit more careful when I'm doing this kind of stuff. I usually try to save in-betweening for the live streaming, because I don't have to think as much and I can get more drawings done. But you know, this was just where I was on the project, so that's it. That's how it goes. I did a really, really short animation test cartoon. It's on my channel. You can look up Retail Sunshine on my channel and you'll see it. And it'll say like main titles or something like that. I made that back in 2020, and while I am happy with like the results of it, I will say this cartoon is way more involved than what that one was. But if you want to see something that's like already done, you can look that up on my channel. And there's also a short film called Sparking Sunshine on my channel. It's like a little 10-minute biopic that I made about the origins of Retail Sunshine and my plans for it and all that stuff. It's only 10 minutes. I think it's worth the watch if you want to know more. But, you know. you're also here hanging out with me, and that counts too. All right, I feel pretty good about this. And the scene will probably end on this drawing. So now I'm going to work backwards. Oh, thanks for the Facebook like from Zoetic Atlantis. Appreciate that. All right, so now, so the scene will probably end on this drawing. This drawing comes before it, but it's not the very first one. So what I'll probably do now is work from this drawing and go backwards to the beginning of the scene, and then I'll have like beginning, middle, and end. And once I have that, that's when I can start breaking it down into smaller chunks, and that's when I get to doing like breakdown shots and in-betweens. That's not going to happen tonight, mind you, but that is how the process goes for me. I'm fairly certain that's how it goes for people that do this in the industry. But there's not a lot of people doing this in the industry anymore, to be perfectly honest with you. So that's sort of a thing. All right, so I'm going to move these drawings around. I'm going to put this drawing in front of this drawing, and now I know where the other one ends up. But I'm going to put another piece of paper on top of this piece of paper because I'm going to be working backwards and making like the drawing that happens before this one. That's the plan. So he's kind of he's shorter than the character that is in the previous scene, and so the character in the previous scene is this tall manager guy. He's really intimidating, and he comes onto the screen, and then he like looks down, and when he looks down, that's when we're gonna see new guy, and he's gonna be looking up, and after he looks up kind of sheepishly, then he'll do the little salute. That's the order of everything. It takes a long time because you have to choreograph it and choreograph it on paper, but choreograph it in your mind and really get in your head what the action is. What is the very, very deliberate action you want to take? And if it's one thing I've learned from this project, it's that if you don't take deliberate action and like make some real good, strong decisions, then the drawings that end up showing up after that are like, the drawing leads you. You don't lead the drawing, and so that's not great. So I've learned it's really, really important to get a concrete vision in your mind and on paper of where you want your character to go, so that way you're constantly building toward that. If you don't have that answer, then the drawing will look messy, and it'll look like it's unsure of itself, because it is unsure of itself. The drawings I made earlier today, I know I keep talking about those. I'm going to show you guys. I actually have those still out. See if I can. They're going to play backwards because they're in backwards order. But so basically, we're looking at the door. It's going to say manager on this sign, and then he opens the door and shows up on the other side, and then he's staring like at the camera, and then he goes and turns and looks down, and then we cut over to new guy. So that's the first scene in the montage, and this was the second scene in the montage. All right, so I want new guy to still be in this shot, but I want him to be a little further like off camera, and then he'll be kind of like having to look up. That's the plan. So I'm just gonna loosely block this in. I don't plan on necessarily getting this all done tonight, but I just kind of want to get like some basic shapes so I know where I'll be working on it the next time I work on it. I usually do start with a circle for a head. It's usually how I start these characters. And the design of the characters in Retail Sunshine is like it's pretty simplistic, or maybe not simplistic. Maybe the word I'm looking for is simple, not simplistic. They're pretty simple, but because they're simple, um, if any line gets like shifted or if the shape is off by just a little bit, when you've got a character that doesn't have a ton of distinguishing characteristics about themselves, um, it can kind of make it like hard to tell who that character is. You know, in other words, if I'm drawing Yosemite Sam has a big old beard and a big old mustache and a cowboy hat. Like he's got very defining features. And that doesn't mean you don't have to still draw him properly, but it does mean if you're pretty close to drawing him properly, the audience's brain will take them the rest of the way because they already know who they're looking at. Whereas with the characters that I have in Retail Sunshine, I have to be very, very precise, or else it gets confusing as to who you're looking at. And you know, you could call that a design flaw, perhaps. Um, I just think that there are some series have characters that are like incredibly defined and have a very distinctive like look from all the other characters, and sometimes not as much. So you know, I don't think there's any like right or wrong way to do it. I want him looking kind of worried here. He's gonna have like a concerned look on his face. All right, so there we go. So I've got like, this is where the scene will sort of start, and he'll be right there, and he'll raise his arm to do the salute, and then he'll do the salute. Something like that. Something like that. I will know more about this scene by the time I get here next week to do another live draw, I should say. We'll see. And I'm not trying to rush this sequence, the montage. I'm not trying to rush it. It's really interesting, like, because it wasn't it wasn't part of the main cartoon initially. I don't know. I sort of feel less pressure now. I'm just sort of like, just kind of going through and working on it. And I think because I finished the main objective already, it removed a lot of the pressure from me. And that last scene was definitely a challenge. That finale, trying to get all those characters moving at the same time, that was definitely a challenge. So I think, like, now that I'm working on just some character stuff that doesn't have a ton of other moving parts, I think there's something really, really comforting about that, and it's a little bit more relaxing to work on. That's probably part of why I feel the way that I do, I think. I don't really know, but that's my theory. Let's get that off there. Yeah. All right. All right. I think I'm going to call it there. Let me put everything back here. Put the paper back. I've got enough here to go on to start working on this new scene. But yeah, like I said, the montage is happening. It is 15 scenes long. I don't know how many seconds of time that's going to be when it's all done. I don't know. And I won't know until I know. There's not really, I mean, honestly, I don't really feel like there's a way to know. Maybe there's a way to, like, guesstimate by looking at it. I know it'll be at least 15 seconds because there's 15 scenes and they're not going to be 1 second apiece. So I guess it'll just be whatever it'll be. And we'll see. You guys will be there with me along the way, I hope. and I'll make sure I keep you in the loop. So have an awesome weekend. Thank you so much for joining me here. I do hope, if you haven't already, please head over to retailsunshine.com. You can follow me there for free. I post photos of in progress stuff that I don't post anywhere else. And I would love to have you join the community of people who are starting to follow me there. I really do appreciate those of you that have. If you just like to hang out here on YouTube, you can also look into being a channel member. It's 99 cents as the base amount for a month. And there's a few perks involved, but mostly it's just like, I don't know, it's a little club. If you like being in clubs, it's a club. All right, there you go. It's about the best I can do for you. Maybe down the road I'll come up with some other perks other than like digital perks, if enough people want to be part of that. And if that's something you do want to be part of and you have some ideas about what you'd like to see, you can always tell me. All right, guys, I will see you next Friday. Thanks so much for being here. Have an excellent rest of your night.